Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world joining us. Thank you so much for being here at USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today is Dream Believers, and we hope that you will leave this program with a sense of curiosity to go out and explore and learn more. Let's welcome the star of our show, Sarah Jillian. Welcome.
Hi, Dr. JACALYN. Nice to be here again.
Nice to have you back with us, and I'm really digging this background that we have. I don't know, the more I look at it, I feel like we're transported away somewhere, don't you?
I know. It's very spacey. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. And thanks so much for coming up with the title of the show as well. I truly think it's important that we all have dreams and we believe that they can come true and we make them come true. That's where the big difference is. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's like the premise of it is, to stick with your dreams and believe in yourself and your dreams and make them follow through. And a lot of people, they do stick with their dreams and they do follow through and they do come true.
Exactly. And you're one of those people, and we've got a special guest backstage who's going to share his story. Before we bring him out, Sarah Jillian, I'm going to spotlight you. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing. You are an actress, you're an author, you're a social media influencer. I mean, what you do in social media in and of itself is a full-time job. Tell us more.
Oh, I do have a lot of fun on social media. I like making those little videos. I make them on Twitter, not Twitter, TikTok. And then I just send them out to all different sites, promoting whatever I'm doing at the time. And I do have a lot of fun doing it, adding music that I like and a little visual, and the editing is so much fun. And then just throwing them on social media and seeing, you either don't want to see them or you do. They're there and they're fun. So I'm doing that. But on top of that, I'm doing a lot of auditioning, and recently signed with TNN Model and Talent Agency. And they've sent me out to many, many auditions in the last little while. So that's kind of fun. And the opportunities are there, and that's great. So I'm looking forward to hearing back from some of those people, hopefully, and more in the future.
Fabulous. So I have a question for you before we bring out Motaz, which is, how do you keep yourself mentally engaged every time you go for an audition? Because there's a lot of pressure, right? And you want to get the role. And then there's that suspense, that time where you audition and then you have to wait. So how do you keep yourself mentally engaged during that time?
I really think that I just stay myself and stay centered and just be myself. So whyever I'm there is because they want maybe myself. So I focus on staying myself. That's all I could say, really.
All right. Thank you so much. So you've brought us another great guest, and he's actually joining us from Dubai. And I've always had a dream of going there. One of our show hosts, Katrina Valenti, she's also in Dubai. So this gentleman is an author, a storyteller, and a filmmaker, and his name is Motaz H. Matar. Let's welcome him to the show.
Yes.
Hi there.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you. How'd I do on your name?
Perfect.
All right. Excellent. So we're talking today about dreams, believing in dreams, and then having a curiosity maybe to come up with some new dreams. Tell us about one of your dreams that you've made come true.
Well, I don't know if there's like there's always many dreams, but they're always in the process or in progress. But uh, you know, some maybe one of my dreams, which I'm still making, I'm still working on, is basically working on projects that I love, and and breaking the fear of writing stories and self-publishing books, because I've had that you know um, roadblock or obstacle for a long time. And a couple of years ago, I just decided to let go and share my work and my books with people. So yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe I'm someone who has many dreams, but just the fact that I can share my work with people is actually exciting and inspiring and motivating.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that you were keeping your work close to you as opposed to putting it out to the world for them to enjoy.
Yeah, because my background is filmmaking, and for many many years we always thought about the process of making films, and it always involves a lot of people and a lot of money and so on. But we think about actually storytellers, or basically filmmakers, as dream sellers. And when you're talking to people, or when you're trying to make films or projects, it's not tangible, it's not something that you can actually hold on to. So during my time in Germany, where I was doing my master's in storytelling, I was like, what if I change that? What if I can actually have something tangible that people can actually you know buy, or they can actually purchase, or they can actually, so the dreams are not just ink on paper. And then I started kind of self-publishing, writing books, and it took me a while to break that fear, to just believe that I could actually do it. So it was a kind of a breakthrough for me.
Yeah. I have a question.
Congratulations.
I have a question. Did you work with pigeons?
um I had that's interesting. I had that experience in my childhood where we were when I was in Jordan, that I used to see the pigeons always flying over the rooftops, which was very romantic. And when I was developing my master's project in Germany, the idea came to me when I was standing by the train tracks in Berlin. And I kind of remembered that visual, that image from my childhood, that pigeons are they're part of our culture, the Arab culture where I come from. So I kind of started developing, and I knew pigeon herders, I knew pigeon whisperers, like people who are actually, their religion is actually flying birds. But I never was a pigeon herder or pigeon whisperer myself, no. But I know something about them.
Yeah, I find it fascinating that you took that element and sort of built on that, because I do find pigeons to be an interesting animal, an interesting bird. I think they're underestimated and a lot of people don't like them, but I do. And it's
Yeah.
interesting that you had that um,
Yeah,
intertwined in your work.
yeah, they're very interesting. Especially the stray pigeons are usually stinky and dirty, so people don't, they don't associate
They have a bad
something
rap.
fancy with it. Yeah, and even actually, what sparked the pigeon whisperer story for me is actually, in the Arab culture, on the in the Levant region, which is mainly Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, they consider pigeon herders as thieves. They don't actually, their confession or their testimonial in court is not accepted, because they're actually considered thieves, because they steal pigeons in other pigeons from other pigeon herders from the sky. So they're actually considered liars and thieves. So that kind of kind of started this discussion of what if I have a character who's actually a pigeon herder, that he's actually an underdog, or he's a pigeon herder who's actually outcast in his society.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Well, and I think that people here in North America too, the people that go out and feed the pigeons, people are like, "Oh gosh, why are you feeding the
Yeah.
pigeons?" And they get a bad rap too, you know.
Yeah.
And I have a balcony, and I sometimes feed the pigeons, and I was told, "Don't feed the pigeons." But I have a couple of pets that they come back all the time, two of them, and one of them sleeps on a lamppost that I have outside, and they're adorable. And there's
Yeah.
just like two of them that they're always coming. I go outside on my balcony, and out they come. Like they'll see me. I don't know where they are. They just come, and it's so cute.
We're
Why do you
actually
think
here on
people
an.
have this, yeah, why do you think people have this stereotype? If like, why do you think, maybe stereotype, why are they like telling
Associated with
people to
dirt,
move?
maybe.
Yeah, 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 maybe.
Well, I'll just add, we're here on an island and there are pigeons everywhere. And we have two pigeons who they come back all the time and they
You
actually
have
live.
them too?
We have them too. And pigeons have a bad rap here because the beach is about 4 blocks away and people will feed the pigeons and then the pigeons are sharing their pigeon poo all over everyone.
Oh,
People don't necessarily like
yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
and people like don't
Mm.
feed the pigeons. In fact, one of something I saw that was really unusual is this gentleman has a hawk and he has the hawk on a leash and he actually stands by the various restaurants with the hawk so
Wow.
that the pigeons won't come by. So it's interesting because
Wow.
you're a storyteller, right? And I think it's interesting. We're starting a story, the three of us together right now. But
Yeah.
Motaz, what would you say it takes to be a master storyteller?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I would say that maybe the first thing is resilience, is to actually uh, be resilient and practice your craft, and to actually keep doing it. Of course, you have to know the basics, go back to the basics of how to develop a story and so on. But I think most people, from my experience, are scared um, to start writing or actually tell stories, is because they're scared of what people will think of their writings or their work or their stories. They always think, what if my story is bad? What if my work is, what if people don't like it? What if I'm judged? What if people say this or that? And I think the first step is to break that fear that people have, if they don't write something or tell a great story. And what you know for example, a lot of people, what they don't realize is there's a lot of grit and a lot of grinding kind of behind the scenes of so many attempts and so many, a lot of trial and error to actually come up with something that is considered decent enough, and so many drafts of stories, or books or notebooks that people write in order to get, because nobody's going to be a great writer. I don't think there's anything such as a great storyteller or a great writer, but I think there is the practice of the craft that people are actually doing over and over and over again to master their craft, or reach a point where they feel like, oh, you know what, I think I'm good enough, I think I can do this, rather than, no, I'm not going to start, I'm just going to step back, and I'm not a good storyteller, or I'm not a good writer. I hope that answered your question. It didn't like
Like you're using
Y-
faith
y-
almost in your ability.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
And you, interestingly enough, actually have a master's degree in serial storytelling, right?
Yeah, I have two master's degrees, one in film and one in basically serious storytelling, which is mainly screenwriting for TV dramas.
Interesting. Well, congratulations on that. And a question I have for both of you. One of the books that I published, I noticed that I got a rating of 3 from someone. And I was like, 3? What do they mean by giving me a 3? And then, of course, there's no comment. There's just the rating of 3. And it really kind of bothered me. So when we're talking about putting ourselves out there, that doesn't mean that we're going to be well received, right? Someone thought that my book was average, I guess. So it
Yeah.
kind of like, it's a little stab that it's like, well, I can't be for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
it hurts. It hurts. It really hurts. You have to learn to not take it personally and just keep going, because you can't make everybody happy, and sometimes you have to think about why that person rated you like that. It could have been a jealousy thing, and then, if you think like that, then it just makes you accept it. You don't
Definitely.
know
Mm.
why they did that or said that. They might have had
Interesting.
a bad
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Motaz, did you want to comment about that? The need for approval?
Yeah, I think we're all seeking validation in one way or the other. We always seek validation from our family, from our culture, from our friends, whatever. Um, I think, yeah, I mean, if if you're gonna seek approval from people, I think even from our closest ones, I think I don't want to say we're not gonna get it, but I don't think that's a driving force to to the work that we're doing, because I tend to think, uh, about if I'm doing something that people don't like, it doesn't necessarily mean that the work is not good enough. I think it could be good, or it could be, mediocre, it could be great, but if it's not well received, it just means that maybe the work is not for these people, or the work didn't land the right audience. It just doesn't mean that my work, is I'm an awful director, I'm an awful storyteller. I know that I'm gonna work on my craft, and I'll always try my best to make my work the best way it can be. But if people don't, you know um, receive the work, then maybe it's not for them. Like, for example, we did a film in 2017 called Slingshot. It's a feature film that we shot in 7 days. Usually, in films you shoot like 3-4 pages a day. We were shooting like 15 pages because we wanted to compress the film in like we wanted to shoot 75 pages in 7 days. Anyway, so we did the film. We were so excited. We spent a lot of money. We spent 2 years making it and so on. And the film was released at a time where the industry was disrupted. There was a lot of like the video in demand, and the film festivals maybe we're not focusing on independent films. And but I could have said to myself, you know what, I'm a bad filmmaker, I'm a bad storyteller, I'm a bad director. This film didn't do well, so I'm just gonna shut myself down and stop doing what I'm doing. But actually I took this as an incentive and continued, at least tried to tell my own stories. But I think most people are sensitive that, oh, if the work doesn't succeed, that it's actually their fault, which makes us harsh to ourselves.
Yeah, definitely so true.
Definitely. Definitely.
And something I would just want to share with the two of you and have you comment is, when we think about a child, and a child gets told, you're no good at that, you can't do that, then that really has a major impact on the rest of that person's life until they become an adult. And as an adult, it sounds like what you're saying is, we accept the fact that not everyone's going to see things the way that we see things. And we're
Right.
not held back by that necessarily. But when we're younger, I think we definitely are. What are your
Right.
thoughts?
Yeah. Are you asking all of us?
Yeah, I'm asking. Yes, Sarah, let's go
Oh,
with you.
oh,
Yeah.
well, I was
Go ahead.
waiting
Go
for
ahead.
a response. Uh, I think that, I mean, it's very true. I mean, I think as you're growing up, those kind of things, if you're being creative and somebody's putting you down on your creativity, it's really hard to keep going with it. And so you have to find it within yourself, that you know that that ability or that thing is just flowing out of you regardless of what people say. And it doesn't matter, because it's just a creative flow that's coming out of you. And you're really don't do it for anybody. You do it to fulfill yourself, and you're not going to fulfill others. You're not looking for recognition or to be loved by others in your creativity. You're doing it because it's your creativity and it's coming out of you, and you're not looking for acceptance. And then if you get the acceptance, that's kind of like a bonus. But as a child, when you're growing up, I think it's really difficult to keep going, because you don't understand that, you don't feel that. But as you're older, you understand, hey, it's just part of what I'm doing. If you like it, you do. You don't, but it's
Yeah.
hard. I think it's very difficult as a child, very discouraging.
Agree. What are your thoughts?
Definitely. Um, yeah, I think sometimes I see people like treating their kids, and the kid doesn't do, trying to play, soccer, or try to do something, and they tell them, "Oh, you're a loser." I think, you know, this, these labels, or the how we label others, especially kids or even adults, takes a toll on us over the long term. And I think if we keep hearing something over and over again, we might think that we're labeling ourselves in a certain way. Um, for example, when I try to, and I'm very careful, when I share, for example, first drafts of some work, I share them with people who are not very critical. I share them with critical people, but I share them with people who are not very critical, because when I'm sharing the first draft of something, I want some encouragement. I don't want to feel, that the work that I'm doing is bad, because that will not let me continue doing the work. So I think, we have to maybe choose people who are actually supportive of our work, of what we do, and also, give us good insight, not kind of shun us down and put us down and say, "Hey, I think your work is awful. I don't like it." I mean, yeah, it's just like, even, I I'm teaching in college here in the university, and sometimes I see teachers are really, really harsh with their students. And if the student tries to do something, or does something wrong, they destroy them. They really destroy them. And I don't think that supports or helps in creativity. On the contrary, that destroys the person, and they will not, before they try to do anything new, they're going to be like, "Oh my god, I'm really bad at this."
Yeah, that
I'm
makes
so
sense.
glad that you shared that, because we have another team member here on this platform, Diane Floyd, and she was a teacher, and she shared about how someone told her she couldn't do this and she couldn't do that when she was growing up, and
Mhm.
now she made sure when she was teaching that never to do that, because a teacher has so much influence, and you really can break someone's stride and their confidence level.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, how do you fit all of this in, all the things that you're doing, and you do them all at such a high level? How do you manage your time?
I don't think. I think the time management is overrated. There's, um, yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to lose the balance in the, personal life to some extent, to kind of push yourself to do things that you know that you think, have value. And personally, I don't believe in the word, maybe, success, because it's overused. I believe more in the process rather than the outcome. And I think this kills a lot of creative people, that they're always thinking about getting noticed. They're always thinking about success. They're not thinking about the outcome, or the process, or the progress. And I think this, I talk to people who are filmmakers, and they say, "Oh, we want to go to film festivals, or we want to go." And I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day. He was like, let's go into film festivals. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll support you, but that's not the right approach. You shouldn't think about going to the film festivals. You should think about telling a good story. Why do you want success? You know, people have become, especially with social media and things like that, they become obsessed with fame and success, that they don't know actually what this word means. And for example, speaking about time management, if I'm writing for 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, I consider that a win. I consider that a step forward or two steps forward. If I'm writing half an hour, I take it. It's not a marathon. It's basically a marathon, not a sprint. So I take small steps towards something. For example, if you aim to write a book, if you write 2 pages a day, take out the weekends, for example, you might have I don't know, maybe 600, 700 pages a year. And if you write 2 pages a day, forget about the perfection for the perfection, maybe they're not perfect, but you will have maybe 500, 600 pages if you're able to write 2 pages a day. Most people underestimate that, but if you take small steps or small wins, maybe um, by in 6 months or 1 year, maybe you'll have a book or you'll have a movie. One project we've been working on is a 2D 3D animated movie, which is going to be released in the next couple of months. We've been working on it for 3 years, and it's like baby steps, small steps towards this, like project that it's never ending, but every day we put small steps towards it. So um I don't know about time management. It's if there's balance or not, but yeah, if we can take small steps, maybe we can move forward towards our goals. um we
That's
can.
that's fascinating that you're doing animation as well. Um, can you tell us some stuff about the animation?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
um so yeah, basically, during the pandemic, I was kind of as we were in lockdown and everybody was depressed. We were just ordering food to the house. We were not going out. We were just like, when is this gonna end? So we did a film called COVID Dreams. We shot it on Zoom, and we shot it in 4 countries. We got actors and so on, uh, about the future. If we could see the future 2 years from now, if we want this pandemic to end, what would we wish for? And maybe this kind of ties into the theme of this episode as well. What would we dream? What would we wish for? And then we made the film and so on. I was like, okay, then what? We're gonna be in the house for like 1 year, right? Or maybe more. So I started like thinking about, okay, so there's no physical production. We're not going to be on set anytime soon. The production studios are shut down. There's no funding. There's nothing. So what are we going to do? So we had a grant from a university where I'm teaching here. They send proposals for people to submit for research projects, and I submitted a grant for to do an animation film based on a book that I've written, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, called The 28 Mansions of the Moon. And I was like, you know what? I'll try it. Maybe I'll get, maybe they like it. And they actually liked it, and they gave us some money to do the film. And that's where we're at. We've been working on it for almost 2, 3 years now. I did the adaptation of the book, I wrote the script. We're working with people, international actors, musicians and so on, people from all over the world. We have an animation company in the US who are actually doing the kind of managing the animation for us. So it's actually started from the pandemic, from a dark, from a
Yeah.
dark era, which I thought there's not going to be anything good that comes out of it, but you never know. So
Yeah.
that's
Very good. Very good. A lot of good comes out. It's funny when there's so much dark, there's got
yeah,
to be so much light that comes out, and
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
an example. That's very good. That's very true.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I started this platform during the pandemic. So,
Yeah, I
Oh
started my
wow,
acting career
that's
again
amazing.
during the pandemic.
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
we're
never know.
shifting careers. Yeah,
So I
that's
was reading
amazing.
on your Instagram that you're a runner and you're 98% vegan. What does this mean, 98%? What's the other 2%?
I was, yeah, yeah. I wanted actually, like a couple of years ago, I wanted to experiment with. I read this book called by an ultra fit runner. His name is Rich Roll. He's American, and he was talking about performance and so on. And I was like, I want to try to the power based diet, and I the hardest thing for me was to not to have milk because I drink coffee. I didn't want to have milk, so I started with eliminating milk, and then I eliminated chicken and then beef and so on. But I kept a couple of things that are like maybe fish and things like that. But I wanted to take out like 5% that are basically not 100% vegan, but um, using the power based diet to basically support my performance when I'm running. But I left out some of the things. Nobody's perfect, right? If I do it 100%, it's gonna be hard. So let me do it 95, 98%. It
I thought
makes
you
it
were going to say,
easier.
well, I'd like to have a big pizza. I like to have some. I didn't know what you were going to say. So
Why do we always get on the topic of food?
I don't know
Yeah.
why. I guess because I do intermittent fasting and I'm not eating until 1 o'clock today. So I'm like, oh,
Oh, it's
but
on your mind.
yeah, it's on my mind. So a question I have: when you're out running, do you come up with some of your creative genius ideas?
um no. It's more or less being it's more or less kind of not venting out, but it's more as if you're running in a void, in a vacuum, and there's nothing, and there's no process happening there. Sometimes there might be some ideas, but most of the time it's just I see it as a form of meditation. Actually,
Yes,
it's just allowing
that makes
yourself to be in that void, to be in that space, and not think about, not even just basically going into that void. And I think about it also as being kind of stepping into, there's an Arabic word called al-barzakh, which is the place that's in between. And maybe that will sound a little bit dark, but it's we believe that our souls, our spirits, go into a place called barzakh, which is a kind of a place that that you transition into after you die. And kind of think about it that way, that it's actually neither positive, neither negative. It's just a void. It's something that you allow yourself to be in just because you don't want to do anything else. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, it
Yeah, it
does. Yeah,
does.
it
It
does.
does.
It does. Sure.
You're sort
And
of
it's,
giving
yeah,
your mind a break.
exactly.
Yeah,
And it's,
yeah.
yeah, it's a
Zone out
form of
without being
meditation.
asleep.
Exactly. It's, yeah, it's a form of meditation. And maybe because when you're writing or telling stories, you burn a lot of brain cells, and you burn a lot of, like, the brain power,
Well,
when
that
you're writing.
explains it.
Hmm.
Oh my
I've been
god, it's
writing
like,
stories all my life, forgot no brain
yeah,
cells left.
it's crazy. It's like you write 2 pages and you're like, oh my god, I can't, it's too much. It's like,
Interesting. Yeah, you have to rebuild them. It's a way of strengthening your abilities, I guess. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
You spoke a little bit earlier about success, and success looks different for each and every one of us, right? Some people, it's about money. Some people, it's about helping others. I mean, we could go on and on. So
Yeah.
you've won awards. Does that mean success to you? What does that look like for you in terms of, yeah, I actually really accomplished something. I feel really good about this.
Um, Actually, yeah. Every time I get, you know, yeah, getting an award is fine, but it's not the driving force. I think it allows me the opportunity to do more work, but that's not the kind of the motivating factor. Um, when I finish, I get connected with the stories and projects, but a lot of the time when I feel that a project is finished, or maybe it gets a certain recognition, I feel kind of depressed, because I feel like, oh my god, what's next? What kind of experience am I gonna go through? What kind of experience I'm gonna, what kind of story am I gonna be working on next? And it always used to happen to me when we were like finishing like a film workshop or doing a film. I always like, oh my god, now I'm gonna come back to reality. So I think the awards part is kind of maybe the reality part. A lot of people want to go, they want success because they want, the glamour, the lights and so on. But then the fear is, what if you go back, what happens when you go back to your house or to your office or whatever, and you don't have any story to tell? And I know people who, a lot of people, who went, their films got nominated into the Oscars, and they went so many places, and they were like, got all the buzz and the lights and the fame, and then they were like, oh my god, I can't come up with another idea. And that's what's scary for me, not the fame, but actually not being able to produce something, and kind of taking that success or fame as an end goal, rather than something that you achieved. It always
Yeah,
scares me.
yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
Because I
that's a
think,
great answer.
mhm.
Sarah Jillian, what does success look like to you?
Success. That's really hard. I mean, I don't really ever see success. I don't see my work as success. I just do it, and I don't ever think that it is success. And I think I just keep going because I do. And I don't ever think that I've ever gotten to a point of success, whether somebody might say, "Oh, that's very successful," or I don't ever see that, and I don't think I ever will. I don't that's just me. I don't really I and I think I don't think of anybody. I think we're all kind of like equal. I don't see anybody really in terms of huge success. But if I mean, yeah, making a mark and being like, wow, you did that is very cool. But I don't I don't know. It's a funny word, and it's a funny
Yeah,
thing to really think that you've achieved success. I don't ever think I have, and I don't think that if somebody was to say, "Oh, that person is a big success," I I would almost have to meet that person to feel that success comes from inside, not
Mm.
something that is outside or exterior. So,
Yeah,
like,
it's
yeah,
very
success,
elusive.
yeah,
yeah.
it's a really, it's, yeah, it doesn't, for me, success,
It's not a good word.
no.
Well,
Don't
let's talk
ever
Yeah,
ask
about
me if I'm successful.
let's talk about
Because I won't be.
curiosity. And to me, I think when you're curious and you want to continue to learn and meet new people and hear their stories, I feel like
yeah,
that's really important and that's really powerful. And as a filmmaker and as an author, you're developing characters, you're working with people from all over the world, like you talked about, 4 different countries.
yeah,
That's a sense of curiosity as well, isn't
yeah.
it? When you're, yeah. What are your thoughts about that?
um I think, yeah, it's about, yeah, being curious, that that they are actually exploring, or maybe trying to ask questions that maybe I don't want to say the average person, but the normal person is not asking. Kind of making observations about certain things, in in basically the world or the environment around you. And it takes focus, it takes um, uh, it requires that you're curious, that you're actually asking questions and kind of digging deeper into the subject matter, like life and death, or what if this person or this character did this, what would happen? Like you speaking about the pigeons, earlier on, for example, the main character of the story, I asked myself, what if this person who was a pigeon herder lost his home? And it turns out there's a true story about the Syrian refugee who actually lost his home and ended up being in Germany, stealing the birds from the train station. So it starts with asking questions, being curious, and also not in a sense of trying to find an answer, because I think the job of a storyteller or filmmaker or an artist is not to provide answers, but to actually propose the questions, and let the audience or the people kind of find the answers themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
absolutely.
that a lot.
Yeah,
It reminds
that's
me,
very true.
uh, I don't know if either of you ever watched The Sopranos.
A
And
little
Mm-hmm.
it,
bit.
Yeah.
well, at the end, there was just
Yeah.
fade to black. There was no information. It's kind of like, wow, what was going on there? And then
Yeah.
each person gets to interpret as they like.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Exactly.
that's the idea. I mean, successful art is just left to the unknown. Like it's whatever
Exactly.
you get out of it. There's not supposed to be anything there. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be something that you take from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. And I think coming back to the point of maybe the outcome or even success, a lot of people, a lot of artists or people who want to write or tell stories, they want to find the answer before they even start working on the project. They don't allow themselves to dig deeper. They don't allow their you know um, you know themselves to explore the story or ask questions, or they don't allow the characters to find their way, into the driving into the fog or into the story. So I think, even as a creator, trying to find answers is not the right approach. Let your characters, let your story take you there. Let the
Yes.
people, in the story, the characters, I used to write outlines, for example, detailed outlines, but then when I started writing books, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let the characters, you know surprise me and take me in the story, and do things that are unexpected, and let them do the things. I don't want to decide and determine for them where the story is going to go, in chapter 5 or 6. I want them to actually take action and make wrong decisions, and love and hate and live life, and rather than me decide that for them. And it's kind of creating an alternative reality, that you're living with these people. Maybe that's why at the end, of every book or story or film, I feel like, oh, I know these people, I've lived with them for a long time now, and I don't want to let them go.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah, really
it's
fascinating.
sort of, if you think of it like this, like going to Jacqueline, Dr. Jacqueline, how you see things. It's like cooking a meal. When you cook the meal, you don't know how it's going to taste until you taste it, and everybody tastes it and gets the results, and everybody feels a different way because they all have different taste buds.
Yeah, yeah, good analogy. We've actually come to the end of our show, and it's been a really
Wow.
fascinating discussion. So I'm really hoping you'll come back and speak with us again. I'm going to spotlight you. If you could share how people can get in touch with you, that would be fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. People can find me on Instagram at Motaz H Matar. I also have a blog called, it launched it, maybe 2 weeks ago, called the Waitlist blog, talking about feeling, living life in simple ways and feeling weightless. And also, you can find, updating my website, matazhmatar.com, So you'll find more information about that, if you go to the website in the next week or so. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
meeting
thank
you.
you.
And please
Thank you.
come back
Same
and
here.
see us on. We've got a film and music show that you'd be a great guest for as well.
Yeah,
Will do. Yeah,
All right.
for sure.
fantastic.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks
so much,
again.
and great to meet you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thanks.
You
nice
too.
meeting
Good
Have a
you
good day.
evening.
too.
Thanks, you
too.
too. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
That was really a great show.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, there's going to be some more interesting guests, hopefully, because we're going to be sort of spotlighting maybe the film festival in Toronto is coming up, and I might be able to get some interesting people on to talk, actors, filmmakers. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they show up.
All right, very good. Sarah Jillian, can you please let people know how to reach out to you and who you'd like to contact you?
Oh, sure. Well, I'm on Facebook. At this point, you can follow me there at Sarah Jillian. I'm on Instagram at that Sarah1234. I'm always posting photographs. I have a tendency to do it all day long. And I'm on TikTok at Sarah Jillian 71 and Twitter at Sarah Jillian 71. And I actually have a channel on YouTube that is Sarah Jillian, and I'm on LinkedIn at Sarah Jillian. I'm there, and so I think and I'm on Pinterest. I just sort of started that, so I'm there, and I post some photographs there every once in a while, and that's about it.
That's good. That's excellent. And also, quickly before we close out, you can also find Sarah Jillian on Sundays with me on our
right.
new show, Get Off Your Couch Workout. And that is at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 8 p.m. British Summer Time, 9 p.m. Central European Time.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. You have to check that out.
Definitely join us for the workout. So it's very
absolutely.
good. All right, our next show is coming up. It's the United Kingdom News and Culture, and we'll be joined by our expert correspondents from London, Helena Shard and Ian Pelham-Turner. They are experts on the royal family. So do join us for that. Thanks again.
All right.
We'll be back
See you
shortly.
later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.